It's time for a change. A new plan needs a new boss. It's time for something more surprising, more British, more Jaguar.
We've already created a beast. Now it's time for a new animal. With the same potent DNA, but even more ruthlessly efficient.
Unleash the cats.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right away.
Go on, my pretty ones, go on. Go on. Go forth and rule the roads! Oh yes, it is good to be bad.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I don't doubt it. You're an excellent specimen. I thought you were empty.
I just moved in.
I'm Charlotte Melville.
Hi. Sorry, I must have fallen asleep.
God, I hope we haven't frightened him off.
So what if we have?
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel. It's Sunday, and we are breaking down, recapping, breaking down, and reviewing episode 3 of Loki. How are you today, Script Doctor?
I'm doing pretty well after seeing those commercials.
Well, the first one was a commercial, and the second one was a clip from a movie. But I was like, I had to add that. I added it specifically for Jayne and Teresa, but they're not here, unfortunately. Jayne will be joining us shortly. Teresa's still on vacation. But I was like, naked Tom Hiddleston. I mean, I think this is a must. It has to happen. I have more funny clips as well. Like there's more goodies to come. But the naked clip is going to be a gem for many days, for me personally, and for you too, hopefully, especially if you're a guy and you swing that way. If you're not, that's totally okay, but the ladies, I'm sure, will enjoy it. And Script Doctor, tell everyone where they can find you.
For now, they can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. No new content on my channel for a bit, as I have taken on a couple of screenwriting jobs, so that is occupying majority of my time. And I'm so grateful to be here to talk to you about Loki, because this is like a respite from my own writing duties. So I appreciate that.
I'm so glad that it works out with your timing and everything for you to be here. That's and you're just a gem of information. Like there's just so much, especially when it comes to writing and stuff, which I don't know much about when it comes to writers and people in the industry. So I really appreciate that you can take the time to be here. It's awesome. I'm going to say hello to the chat. We have Awesome One here. Have fun. My sleep made the Jayne script be with you. Well, Awesome One, I hope you have sweet dreams. Grumpy Old Ninja is here. Hello. Thank you so much. Jacob the Archer. Oh, wait. Jacob Archer Barton. Thank you for being here. Xavier is here. I saw you post earlier about how to turn your YouTube into dark mode. It's the 3 dots in the corner, and then there's you can do that. Keely Chow is here. Hello, Keely. Zax. Hello, Stephen Otten. What's going on? Darren's here, and Kaylee. Hello, Kaylee. Good to see you. Nikki D is here. Did I say Zax? Because Zax is here. Excellent stuff. And Andrew's here. Hello, Andrew. That car commercial had better storyline and acting than the last episode of Loki. That's what I just said to Script Doctor, because he was like, in the private chat, he was like, that commercial was horrible. I thought it was way better than the writing was way better.
Oh, no, it was definitely, I mean, it's entertaining, but at the same time, it's rare, as I said in the private chat, that Jaguar does a commercial that makes me want to go out and shoot a Jaguar just so it would stop.
There's another one too. The second one's better. But it's funny to me because I feel like he's actually like very villainous in these commercials because he's like he just keeps talking about how he's like the bad guy and he's like it's good to be a villain and like all this stuff. And I'm like, why can't we get this Loki? Like that he's like all evil and like proud to be evil and
relishing in it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
At the same time, the context is like very Bondish because you got Nicholas Hoult who's trying to play like the Q character.
Mm-hmm.
Reminiscent to the guy that they got playing the new Q now, who looks just like a hipster. And then you've got Tom Hiddleston clearly doing like a nefarious Bond.
He is. And you know what's weird is I never thought of him as a Bond, like, a Bond option until I saw these commercials. And I was like, hey, maybe him. Like, actually, he's not too bad. He is British. I think that checks out.
He is. He's really slim for a Bond. Like even Roger Moore was a little bulkier than him.
That's true. That's true.
But like I think that's kind of like the taste that I'm seeing women really like these days. Is they like their men like lean, like muscular to a point, but a bit more lean. Like they can fit into more varieties of clothing, I guess.
Yes, that is definitely. I mean, for me personally, I think that's true. Like for example, let's take Henry Cavill for example. I know we're going off track here, but Henry Cavill, a few years ago, like when he did Man of Steel, was perfect, and then I feel like now he's like a little too bulky. Like it's like I like the muscles, but he's just going like a little too overboard. It's like when you're starting to see like the veins pop out of your like muscles, it's like, okay, calm down. You could take it down.
Yeah, you should the healthy muscles. You get one bicep vein per arm, and maybe 2 or 3 forearm veins, just because you're pulling such a lot.
Exactly.
But when you see a bunch to the point where you could like map out your route in the UK,
yeah,
on your bicep, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's really in that phase anymore, because there was that one picture that was circulating around where he's next to his statue and he's just way ripped compared to the statue.
I think that's the one I saw and I was like, damn, like calm down.
That's some chemical assistance there.
I agree. I feel like he's taking hormones. By the way, Deranged Lunatic sent us a rose. Thank you so much for that rose. That's amazing. And Nikki D with a $5 super chat says, thank you for that lovely opening, Nina. It was greatly appreciated. You're welcome. Here's another one to thank you. I've been so excited to play this. Okay, here we go.
Hit the...
My favorite part of that clip is the Chinese girls.
That was dancing that me and my friends used to do in high school in like the year 2000.
Totally. So ravish. Like, oh my God.
So retro.
Oh, but it's all in good fun. I mean, he used to have fun apparently, but I don't know if he has that much fun now. But again, Nikki D, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. And we have almost 40 people in the house. Please smash the like, you guys. Subscribe if you're new here. And if you're not, just share out this stream and get more people involved, because we're gonna be going into some cool stuff. TZ Canadian Beer is here. Hello. That's a cool name. Michael Quaid is here. Hello. No worries. You haven't missed much. We were just talking about Henry Cavill's beautiful body. Darthside's here. What's going on? Yeah, so, and Ancient One's here. Hello. Good to see you. Disco Loki, says Andrew. Yes, he used to have fun. He used to have fun. Okay. While we're waiting for Jayne, let's quickly go into something about Loki. One that I saw drop right after basically the episode came out is this that Loki viewership numbers reportedly tumble over 160,000 between episode 1 and episode 3. A lot of people I know checked out at episode 3, and we'll get into why. But what do you think of this script, Doctor?
It's meeting the pattern of expectations after the previous two series. So I mean, I feel sorry for a lot of the cast and crew that worked on these shows, thinking that it was all a good bunch of good ideas, and those that knew it was a bad idea and couldn't say anything. I feel sorry for those people. But no, this is just par for the course at this point.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of exactly what happened as well with WandaVision. I think WandaVision started going downhill after episode 4, though, because they did have more episodes, because they had like eight episodes, I believe.
Yes, they originally planned for 6, but some issues occurred and they broke up the first episode into 2 and then kind of hobbled 2 and 3 to make an additional one out of that, so they could do an 8-episode story. And it really, you can tell, like, there's that episode 3 shift where they brought in Kat Dennings as this physicist. Everything just kind of really changed. That felt like it should have been part of the first episode, and you can tell that there were some other plans going on there, and they tried to fix this in the edit.
Right. And then, of course, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like this, because it was 6 episodes, at 3, people just lost interest. They were like, okay, we're out on this.
Well, even 3 episodes in, you have no idea you don't quite fully understand the motivation of the Flag Smashers, nor what they plan to do in order to achieve their goals. Like, it's very ambiguous, and that's the last thing you want to do in your story's plot, is set up a bad guy and then not explain what it is they're trying to do, at least from the bad guy's perspective. And I know a lot of writers desperately want to shroud that in mystery, so you can have that kind of twist and turn surprise moment at the end. But if you don't lay the necessary steps beforehand, so that either the audience can guess various different outcomes, or actually end up accurately predicting the outcome, you end up shooting yourself in the foot. And that's what happened with Winter Soldier. Like, their entire plan was to destroy or blow up a floor with 20 people who make arbitrary decisions about the world, and that's supposed to right everything.
Yeah, it was all problematic. Jayne, hello. Good to see you. How are
Glad
you?
to be here. I made it.
You
Doing
made it. Did you see my commercials that I played?
I didn't. I did not.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I won't play the car commercial again, but this is a must for Jayne. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I don't doubt it. You're an excellent specimen. I thought you were empty.
I just moved in.
I'm Charlotte Melville.
Hi. Sorry, I must have fallen asleep.
God, I hope we haven't frightened him off.
So what if we have?
Did you enjoy that, Jayne?
That was a commercial?
No, that was a clip from a movie. I believe it's called The Heights or something like that. It's a sci-fi movie about a building. Yeah.
I may have to rent that or
buy
it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
So Jayne, what do you think of the fact that Loki viewership has gone down after episode 3?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't know why they're not being responsive to the audience by now. I mean, you're on your 3rd series now at this point, so you understand the criticism and what we're looking for, and you're giving us something entirely different. So the viewership tumbling should have been predicted. Like, I don't understand why they're so disconnected still, despite all of the public outrage on platforms like ours, but just in the general discourse. Like, they have to know that these decisions they're making don't make any sense to the audience. that the virtue signaling doesn't work. It's not effective. It's not storytelling. It's like they're missing a component here and they just don't understand it for some reason.
Or they do understand it and they just don't care. That's
But they
the
should
other
care.
thing.
They're in a business. What happened to making money?
The thing is that because of all the things that we've heard from the back channels about how they're not really into, like, they're not in the business of making money anymore. They're about the business of putting ideas in their medium and pumping out ideas. So I think that's why they don't care anymore. They know there's going to be a loss, but they don't care. They think that that's more important than actually getting the numbers that they want. That's my theory anyway. I don't know.
I just don't know how that's profitable over time.
It's not.
It really isn't, and that's kind of like one of the double-edged swords of streaming development. Traditionally, and sorry for the whistle there. Traditionally, in television, you would be shooting an episode about 3 to 4 weeks before it would air. So you could actually gauge pretty quickly from an audience reaction if you had to right the ship if it was going badly. You would have 3 weeks to fix it, and usually that would happen during like the mid-season break in the winter, because mostly shows would premiere in the fall. You'd have like your first 6 episodes or your first 8, and then you'd have your back 9 or your back 13 if you got extended or renewed. And you'd be able to figure out where things are going and then make the necessary adjustments to sort of fix that to hold on to whatever audience you have. But with streaming, they write so far in advance, and then they shoot so far in advance, then they drop in a very tight frame to the point where, once you have uploaded that show to the service, there's nothing you can do with regards to the ending of that. You can't stop it all of a sudden and change it and say, oh, we've done 3 episodes of Loki. We're going to, we seared the reactions. We're going to go back and fix that all. And those 3 episodes are going to be adjusted, reshot, and so forth. And you'll get those 3 episodes in 4 months. And they're not going to do that. It's going to freak everybody out, especially customers who are paying for the subscription so that they can watch that show within that 6-week period. They would be fearing that there'd be massive cancellations until the show were to come back, and that's a whole slew of issues that they don't want to deal with. So they're stuck at this point. And we did get a little bit of inclining reports of this during Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they had to stop production and reshoot because it was supposed to be the first show, not WandaVision. It was supposed to be that first, then WandaVision.
Right.
But they had to change it because of issues with regards to a pandemic subplot, supposedly.
Yes,
I've only been hearing
that.
I've heard some other rumors, but unfortunately I don't know anyone directly linked to the show in the writing capacity, only in the post-production at this point. And they never got any of the footage for what originally was done for their stuff. So this is basically it's kind of peculiar that we've got this writing team that is relatively green, working in a television style medium for a streaming service, and they can't get the basic fundamentals of structure, character motivation, setup, payoff, cause, effect, all these things that we need to and for this series. And so it makes me really concerned. I mean, these are the first 3 that are out of the gate, and it's not really getting much excitement. You don't see it trending on like Twitter because it drops like early Wednesday morning.
And the funny part is they keep saying, like, whenever you hear about Disney Plus, they're like, are like more successful shows and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you only have 3 and they're competing with each other. And, they're competing about which one's worse at this point.
Yeah, I mean, is anyone talking about the Mighty Ducks show that's on Disney Plus?
I didn't even know.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah, apparently there is. Nobody's talking about that.
Wow.
Mandalorian's been off the air for a year now, so nobody
cares about Mandalorian anymore.
Yeah. So they're losing stuff.
And by the way, Stephen Otten is correct that naked clip was from the movie High Rise. That's what the movie is called.
Okay.
Just FYI.
The other thing too, when it comes to writing, it seems like they're not really concerned, as Script Doctor was saying, about the story, but they are concerned about checking off certain boxes. So they had to make sure they got in there that he was bi. They may have to make sure that
that's what this tweet is about right here.
Inspiration to his mother. His father was, I guess, non-existent. And it's just like, and of course they have to check mark all of her attributes and being better and his being weaker and all this. I mean, it's just, you see this pattern of messaging across the industry, and it's not successful. So even if they don't know that, in their particular show it's going to work, they should have a hint from where they're seeing it everywhere else fail, like Batwoman and all this other crap. I mean, I just don't understand how they're missing the audience reaction in general to this approach to film and television.
Probably because they're going from a very they're going for the easiest pool of audience interaction, which is social media. That's the easiest pool to pull from. There's nothing else on the ground. They don't try and serve it, like seek out any other information. It's like what's on Twitter, what's on Instagram, what's on Facebook. That's as far as we're going to go, which is really poor because it's such a small market. And I mean, one thing that's kind of interesting and also a big missed opportunity for Loki as a character, and I think goes back to Thor: The Dark World, which is that Thor is very much his father's son, and Loki is pretty much his mother's son. Like they're all into the magic. Thor's into the violence and the muscle and brute, and Loki's into the mischief, the magic, and the subversion and all that stuff. And what they should have done in Thor: The Dark World is really elaborated more on that relationship between Loki and his mother and how Thor factors into that. Because everything that they were doing in The Dark World, which is a movie I keep falling asleep watching, is just kind of empty. It doesn't feel like it's a complete film. It's one of the worst MCU movies prior to Civil War. And I'm not saying Civil War is a bad movie. I'm saying like that's like the marker. Well, after Civil War, things kind of really changed direction.
It kind of went downhill after Civil War.
Yeah, pretty much. Because like I have no problem with Loki being like, oh yeah, like I'm my mother's son. My mother taught me all this stuff. And that's great. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that type of relationship. But what they ended up doing later in the show is they started saying, well, the other Loki, quote unquote Loki, was more self-taught and is now far superior to him as a result of that, which is also a very arrogant approach to any skill. The reason being is that if you're self-taught, yeah, you can go a long way, but you end up making all the mistakes that if you were to have someone who is helping you along the way, you would avoid and understand why to avoid those a lot more intimately than having to literally stumble and hurt yourself because you didn't know any better beforehand. That's kind of like the value of what education is supposed to be. And when you take a look at the writing history of some of the people who are working on this show, you can tell that they got far more lucky than anyone else in their careers. That they most likely talked and weaseled their way into certain areas because they had they were just fortunate enough to have easy access by way of education, by way of physical proximity, or by way of nepotism. And that's usually the case in some parts of the industry, especially when you have a larger studio like Disney, where it's all about the family. So yeah, there's some things in there where a person says, I came from nothing, I'm self-taught, but it's like, oh wait, your dad has this much stake in this company, and like, yeah. It's not really what it is. And
so you think it's a form of self-insertion?
Definitely, to a degree, yeah. I mean, the other part too is that we have the director of this episode, Kate Herron, who has been directing for a while, but it took her about 6 years of doing short films by herself, self-produced, before she got like a TV series, which was I think called like the Idris Takeover. And if you haven't heard about that, there's a reason. But yeah, like the part here is that she's learning how to direct herself and doing all the experiments with short films, which is great. But you don't see much of her credits in that time where she's working on other productions, which means that she's not expanding her access of knowledge by looking at other jobs that are within the production aspect of film, because a good director is also usually got some keen-eyed editing, understands lighting, understands cinematography, understands set decoration and spatial geography and all that stuff. And she doesn't have those types of experiences. She has like 1 second unit director credit and 1 casting department, and that's it. And everything else is director. So yeah, it's pretty narrow, and you can kind of see that in this episode, the shots are flat and there's nothing very dynamic about it. The lighting is inconsistent with the background.
We'll get into that, script doctor. We'll
Yeah.
get into that. Let me just read this super chat. Stephen Otten, thank you so much for the $5. Says, Thor, The Dark World is just a nothing burger of a movie. I struggle to remember what happened or what it was about. Honestly, me too. I don't remember.
It's about saving Jayne, I think. Jayne's in trouble. Gotta save her.
Oh my God. Poor Jayne Theory. No, I'm just joking. I know you're
Oh.
Hey, we got cookies in the house, both Nerd Cookies and Nick Cookies.
Ooh, the
How's it
cookie
going,
tray is here.
cookies?
The cookie tray.
The cookie tray. Nerd Cookies, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know and I'll send you a link. And you can send it to your husband because I don't know where he is. But
He's
yeah,
in the closet. She puts him there.
Oh my God, that's
I don't
so
agree
funny.
with it. I think he should be let free.
Oh my God. Let's set hashtag free Nick Cookies.
Yep.
But I don't know how I feel about this whole post here. Well, I mean, I do know it's very frustrating to me because I feel like Loki, as a shape-shifting individual, you would think it's just assumed that he would be open to, any sort of person.
Well, even just because he's a god,
Yes, exactly. Like
that would be a hint that he could care less about what a human is.
right, like, or like sexuality or whatever. Like you would think it would be, interested in whatever. Like I'm here and I'm queer, whatever. It
Not
doesn't
only
matter.
that, I mean, if you take a look at the Greek gods, they they did not care whether you were human, animal, or relative when it came.
Yeah,
to
they didn't
their
care at
concept.
all. They were like, whatever.
And it makes sense. I mean, you would expect that. Same thing we see with like vampires and other types of supernatural creatures. Why would they care? Especially you talking about creatures that can live. Essentially, they're immortal.
Immortal. That's right.
They don't care.
So
why is that the point here? Why is that the thing that you just motivated you? You have to get this across. Why wouldn't it just be a given? Why wouldn't people just understand? That's the other thing about them. They can't be subtle. They can't just let the audience understand and interpret from what they observe.
Exactly. And that's like kind of carrying now into like Doctor Who as well. I was streaming about that last night because they were saying that, the new Doctor Who is like this gay actor. And I was like, who fucking cares that he's gay? But I'm not getting into that, but that's kind of what they're doing in all mediums. It's like, that's what's important now in character development. It's like, what's between your legs and how you swing it. And it's like, no, that shouldn't be, the be all end all factor of anything. But it is. That's apparently
It's kind of
important.
it's kind of an accidental byproduct to the 90s coming out story that you'd have on television and films, like Ellen DeGeneres coming out and Will and Grace hitting the market. It was advertised as like the gay sitcom and all that stuff. And that was about 25 years ago. So that lines up to the current age of people today thinking that that was an important thing and that needs to still be celebrated, where they completely weren't paying attention to the normalization aspect of what that was, which is like, yes, they exist and they could be anyone and it doesn't matter because they're still who they are prior to such a thing. That reminds me of the movie with Tom Selleck and Kevin Kline called In and Out, which is obviously not a very great proponent of what it is to be a gay person coming out, but it was about character coming to acceptance, even though he wasn't actively living in denial. It was just something that never occurred to him, and he had to kind of like find that within himself. And it's not done tactfully, but it's definitely like a turning point in movies of that time. Like once that came out, a lot of other things started to follow suit with doing the same type of jokes, so to speak, or takes on that. And now we're seeing it going to its nth degree as basically a dead horse having been beaten so much to the point where it's almost glue at this point.
Yeah.
It's not good by any means. So here when we start the episode, I gotta say the first thing that I was just like no, was the music. Like immediately I was like, what is this? Like some sort of Hannah Montana. Like I don't know if I'm getting old or what. Like I was just like, this music, it doesn't feel like Loki. It feels so like new age and just like so poppy. And it's like, I don't know. Was that just me?
I don't even remember the music.
I don't either. I was just about to say, I don't remember the music, but I know my general feeling that I recall was that it wasn't as bad as what I was seeing. So I sort of ranked the music higher than the actual story. But I could not even tell you at this moment what it sounded like.
Oh my God. I was like, what the fuck is this? Nerd Cookies, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired, but good.
Did you bring your husband out of the closet for this stream? Because you can.
No, he's busy. He's watching basketball.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Everyone probably knows who Nerd Cookies is, but Nerd Cookies, please tell everyone where they can find you before we get started.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Main channel on YouTube is Nerd Cookies. I cover sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. I'm covering a lot of Dune right now, but also Lord of the Rings and Battlestar Galactica, getting into that. So yeah, you can check that out. You can also follow me on Twitch at Nerd Cookie Arcade. I also stream on YouTube, gaming streams, and yeah, so you can follow me there, and also Pop Cookies for pop culture, news and commentary stuff.
Nick Cookies has a wrench, so you can, put all those links in the chat, Nick, and people will subscribe, hopefully. Please do, because Nerd Cookies and Nick Cookies are freaking awesome. You don't want to miss what they got going on over there. But yeah, so what did you think of the music? Do you remember it? Because I was like,
I don't remember the music. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that's
out in my mind is that.
But that's something, right? That's something, because music is supposed to be powerful. Music is supposed to make you feel things and remember. And that to me is actually something to say when three people here on the panel are like, I don't know what the music was. I mean, for me, it was extremely cringe. But to hear that people are like, I don't even fucking remember what that song was. That says something. It's like, no.
Wait, but I do remember one. I'm sorry. I do remember in the second episode they started with that 80s song. Was it Holding Out for a Hero or something?
Yes.
I'm talking about specifically this episode, because this episode was freaking atrocious with the music starting out. I was like, holy.
Everything else was so just so bad that was just I don't know. I didn't really concentrate on the music because everything else was so bad.
No, I understand. I understand.
I was so upset though, because I was invested. I thought they did. I know a lot of people didn't like the first two episodes, but
you know what? Full disclosure, Nerd Cookies is one of the only people I've heard that really liked the first two episodes.
Yeah. I liked the Hitchhiker's Guide vibe. I thought that they pulled that off pretty well. Owen Wilson and his chemistry with Tom Hiddleston was one of the highlights for me. But I just loved the setting, and they pulled me in with the story. I was excited to see where it would go. I liked the world building. I liked the conversations, mostly between Morbius and Loki, and it was. I was intrigued about where it would go about this variant. And they took
a Fatal J, who I love, by the way. You guys, Fatal's awesome. Check out his channel. Says this episode sucked. Too much talking. I actually thought it was less talking than the first two episodes, so I was a little bit more.
Well, that's interesting too, because a lot of people thought that the first two episodes were boring because of the dialogue and conversations. I was actually really intrigued by the conversations because it accomplished something. We're kind of like getting to know Loki. We're kind of getting to know this completely new universe that we found ourselves in. So I thought that it served a purpose. But it's funny because this episode had more action in it than conversation than the first two. But I was so bored.
That's funny because I liked it more because it was a little bit more actiony, and I was like a little bit more invested in, you know, when we get later into the episode about where they ended up and everything. I actually thought it was kind of cool. And then they fucked it up. And I was like, well, what? Okay. But this is how we start. So we start the episode in this person's mind. This is the last episode lady that, got basically her ass kicked by Lady Loki, or we're just going to refer to her as Sylvie from now on because that's what her name is. And she doesn't want to be called Loki. She's made that pretty clear. So Sylvie, aka Lady Loki, was in her mind and setting it up over and over again in different ways to say that this is how she got the information she got out of this chick's head, which was kind of unnecessary because we kind of knew that already. It's like, did we need 10 minutes of this? I didn't, but did you guys feel this was redundant?
It goes back to what I was saying before about why we already were told this, right? Like, why are they having to then go and show us? It would have been better to just do one or the other.
Well, there is a reason that they did this, even though I don't think it's done well. And that comes into play later on in the episode when she talks about how deep she had to go into this person and what the people who work for the TVA actually are.
Yeah, I thought that this was gonna foreshadow something. So that was another thing too. I thought this entire episode was in Loki's head, or maybe at one certain point Sylvie's head, possibly when she wakes up later and Loki's being stupid. I thought maybe that's where we're in someone else's head and the rest that follows is just an illusion. But that never got revealed. So it's like you foreshadowed something, and I thought there was going to be a payoff to that. And even if that's what they're going to reveal later for this episode, it's just incomplete. It just feels just no payoff for this. If you foreshadow something in the beginning of the episode and you don't intend to follow through, it feels incomplete.
So yeah, this clip should have been in the previous episode when they're trying to find out what happened to her after the Renaissance Fair.
Exactly. This should have been in the last episode. But they wanted to keep like her being her so secret to like the reveal in the final episode that they didn't want to show what she was doing.
Well, you could intercut this to a point where you just have that shot here at the start, and then you go to her attempts to try that the other woman's attempts, so we don't know who that other woman technically is until the very end, where you realize, oh, with Loki's fighting her, that's who we've been watching to.
Oh, I would say like give her full gloves so you can't see that she has female hands. But then again, maybe she needs to actually touch someone. That's why she's got the
physical connection.
Yeah,
I think
that would have been a smart way to do it.
Okay, so then we see this all very useless bullshit, and then crappy.
So just showing how she got the location of the timekeepers, right?
Yes, exactly. And then she comes through to this place, ends up kicking ass, of course, unlike our Loki, which got his ass kicked in the world where, I mean, this bitch is doing like wall clips, wall stuff. And
so she has powers here?
No, she used the little
Kung
stick.
Fu moves. I don't know.
Yeah. And she used the stick against those people. And she seems really fine with killing people. She has no problems doing that. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, how is she such a great fighter then?
Because she's a woman, Jayne. Because she's the bestest ever. I don't know.
She definitely doesn't seem like Loki at all. And I guess, I don't know if she is. They call her Sylvie, and she might be the Enchantress, which I think is probably most likely.
Yes,
but even still, like, you're supposed to use your
claims that
talents
she
and your
was
abilities.
Loki. Does that make sense? Like, if she's Enchantress, like, is that? I don't understand how you go from being Loki to Enchantress. Like, I don't.
She could just be pretending to be Loki. I don't know why she would do that.
Why, if she's pretending, then why don't they know that? Like, why can't they see that the behavior is different? Especially because there are hints that the Loki we're dealing with in this particular timeline, this particular variant, isn't the first one they went on this journey with. So, having known personally the other Lokis and studied all of the other variants of the Lokis, how do you not know that she isn't a Loki?
Or she could very well be, and they're just trying to give her a different backstory, kind of fusing Loki with the Enchantress. I have no idea what
I don't know,
the
but
people in the world, like the
they've made
actual
us.
officers.
They've
But she doesn't
made
seem like
several
Loki.
notes of it, though. They several notes, like several times in this episode alone. She was like, "I'm not Loki."
And they do use the word enchanting several times. So
no, the thing is that this show its premise is its own incongruity. You have no free will, yet you have variants, and you have variants that are from different universes, yet there's only one universe. It's very, very poor. I mean, unless they have a really good hook and execution at the end of this to make it all make sense, it currently is not very cohesive.
Yeah, that was what I disliked the most, because it is so clear that there is a different writer handling this episode than the previous two. It is so stark contrast as far as the dialogue and the setup of scenes, and it shouldn't be like that. It should flow normally. All that you've set up in the first two should continue on in the next episode. Honestly, I feel like it's like a Star Wars sequel trilogy situation where they set up all these storylines in the first two episodes, and then Rian Johnson took over for this. That's how stark of a contrast it is, because they made Sylvie, or the female Loki, look very formidable. Like, I was very intrigued by who was slaughtering all these time cops and how they were setting that up. And then when we see her in this episode, and it's like, it's just not paying off. It doesn't seem like the same person.
Well, and here's Megamac with it. Why is it that Loki can't fight anymore? Thor had a hard time handling him. Apparently, the Hunter B-15 can best Asgardian fighters, no problem. And that's one of the things I had a problem with in this, because here he is finally facing Lady Loki, and she got the best of him several times. I was like, okay, so like, what's going on with Loki? Like, I don't understand why he's so weak all of a sudden. And of course, I do understand, because deep down inside, I know what they're going for. They're going for woman better, men weaker, basically trying to, that whole narrative that we're used to is being played out here. And it's just really disgusting to watch. But what do you guys think about it?
It would have been so much cooler if they were both badasses.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to see.
Thank you. Yes. I would have. I mean, I'd love to see a badass female character. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, why can't we have both? Like, why do you have to make one greater at the expense of the other? That's what I have a problem with.
I mean, if they're both variants of the same person, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but apparently she's not Loki. I don't know.
No,
and Sylvie is the name of the Enchantress, right? Sylvie something.
Yep.
I think
so. And Elaine, you were very wise to catch on that it felt like a different writer, because it is Bisha K. Ali, who is the creator of the Miss Marvel TV show for Disney Plus. That's going to be coming out later this year, I believe.
Oh yay! Yeah, not.
Yeah, it was so completely like a different show for me. It was the setup of everything, how the events that flowed, but more importantly the dialogue, because the dialogue really stood out for me in the first two. I was so drawn into the conversations between, and my goodness, Owen Wilson is carrying this show. So when he wasn't in this, I really
I agree. He was missed in this episode. Let me just quickly get these super chats. Zax for $5. Thank you so much. Says, wouldn't she have been a variant from birth? How was she allowed to grow up in her timeline? We don't know that yet. And I'm hoping that we're going to find that out in the next few episodes, because they really didn't go into what her story is. I was expecting a backstory. We didn't really get one, other than I'm not Loki and, I learned everything by myself.
And I'm better than you.
And I'm better than you.
Loki was like spilling his guts, and that just
he was
having existential conversations about what is love. I'm like, what?
I mean, that was also like very unexpected and unvillain-like, because why would you, if you think that someone's your enemy, why would you just like keep giving away secrets? Like, it doesn't really make any sense. It's tactically, it's not smart.
Well, they've set up him sort of telling a good story and it not being true too. So
That's true.
also
That's true,
possible.
Jane. That's true. And but we know a lot of the stuff that he said was true, though. That's the thing, because we've seen his journey. So I don't know. Detritus of $5 says, FYI, 2 scenes for episode 4 leaked of Owen Wilson in an ancient Egypt driving a car or summit. Shows in Garbage.io, but Garbage.io? I don't know.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Oh, garbage in, garbage out. Thank you. But you guys rock these breakdowns. Cheers. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. And then we had a $10 super chat. Thank you so much from Nikki D. Says, it just feels like the writers just don't fundamentally understand Loki's character and nature, and is resulting in a very amateurish and boring storytelling. Think the show will get better? Ooh, I don't know. Well, that laugh kind of said it all, but I don't think so. But I'm hopeful too. Like I don't know.
If they've gone the ancient Egypt route, it's not going to get better.
that doesn't sound good.
And you know, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Elaine.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I try to keep optimistic about, until I see the finished product. But we've seen this path before. This is a pattern of behavior with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Exactly.
They're just going beat for beat so far. So that's not good.
That's not good at all. And again, I want to thank you, everybody, first of all, for being here. Thank you so much, everyone, in the chat. Please smash the like if you haven't done so. And everybody for super chatting and everything like that. So here is Dancing Tom Hiddleston again.
Hit the...
I won't play the whole thing.
I wouldn't have knocked down the chair if I did that.
So again, thank you so much for the super chats. Hey, Apex Comics, I see you there. Rob's here. Thank you guys for hanging out. So then again, so he gets basically owned by Lady Loki. Let's just, or Sylvie, whatever her name is. He did a couple of things here and there, which was like whatever, but she bested him, of course, at every turn. And then this lady shows up.
Like, hey, what are you gonna do?
Bantra Owen Wilson, who's not in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred that this was Owen Wilson. I'm like, and him getting away from Owen Wilson again would have been a cooler buildup, because it would have been like, because they were kind of getting along, and
at least have him in the end, like somewhere. He's like
integral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like that they left him sort of heartbroken, that he thought he had made a breakthrough. I don't know what the next stage of that relationship is going to be, but I like where they left him. And I just don't think he would have fit in this episode with what they're doing.
Do you don't think that he would have fit in this scene here? Instead of having her, you have him catching up to Loki again, and then doing the same thing again, because it gives you that much more pain to see it happen twice. Like, he's just...
I don't want the repetition. There's enough repetition in this show so far.
Well, I thought for sure, since he knew that she was hiding in apocalypses, that he would eventually try, like, go through all the locations of the apocalypses and eventually find his way there. That's why.
Will Gentry, hello, by the way. Good to see you, Will. Says, Owen Wilson is not a strong, independent female POC, though. So he can't be in the scene. That's also very true. Hey, good to see you there. So yeah, she comes out. Loki and them just, go through this portal thing.
Well, the only good line exchange happened in that scene, which was like, so Sylvie says, come in closer and I'll kill Loki. And she's like, go right ahead. We don't want him here anyway. That was the only good thing that was out of this episode that I can remember. Because it's like, yeah, it fits totally in line with her perspective, that character's perspective and motivation. He needs to be disintegrated. Doesn't matter. We're only here to stop you. And we can do that the moment, whether you kill him or not.
Right. That was a pretty good line. And then so this episode is basically all about this
the
MacGuffin. Yeah.
MacGuffin.
I call it MacGuffin. He called it the iPod. I mean, it's an iPad, really.
Well, we know exactly its purpose and its function, so that's more details than the MacGuffin in itself.
That's true.
But yeah, it's basically just your iPad, and it's running out of power.
Yes, it's out of juice. They need to charge it. They find out that, like, it needs a lot of juice, not just a little bit.
But see, at this point, they have their powers now, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
None of this makes sense from this point forward.
This whole place was like, what? This whole conversation.
Like, any menacing factor that she had, actually at the very end of the second episode, I really enjoyed that sequence where she's inhabiting other people, and I thought the actors were really good in those roles being possessed. It was so interesting and menacing and villainous, and then we go directly from that to this, and all menace is lost.
It's kind of like the same thing as the Kylo Ren thing, right? Like when you take your helmet off in the first 10 minutes, it's like it's over. Yeah, like
doesn't look like the same
or have a temper tantrum in the first 10 minutes, it's over.
Doesn't seem like the same person who was like taunting him in the last
Well,
one.
I mean, this chick had a freaking temper tantrum. Did you guys see that Karen moment? I was like,
yes,
oh my God. Like,
when I saw that, I'm like,
yeah. Earlier I had seen earlier I had seen a video on, oh man, I wish I had saved it. It was on Twitter of this girl like walking in her house, dropping her shit and just screaming into the camera. And I was like, did this Loki just literally do that same thing? She just had a freaking hissy fit.
Yep.
It was crazy. So then they go here, which I'm not gonna lie, I got like immediately my interest was piqued here because I was like, another planet, moon crashing into the earth, future. I mean, I'm in. Like, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And the setting got me. Like, I was like, ooh, purple. Like, this is cool. It's alien. I like that kind of stuff. But then it kept getting like it was stupid. And of course, you see Lady Loki pretty much, or Sylvie or whatever, being always ahead of him, and then
what is any of this about? Why is any of this happening?
Why is the debris coming from various different angles if it's from a moon?
It should be going well, it kind of is in this scene. See, there's one here, there's one here, there's one. It's supposed
not how
to be
physics
random.
work, even on alien planets.
What, have you been to alien planets?
I've seen theoretical models. They're really cool.
Oh my God.
Script does his research.
He's great. That's why I love him here. This line was funny to me though, because he kind of saves her in this one scene, and she's like, I didn't need you to do that, because she's like an independent woman or whatever, and he's like, you're weird. Like, that made me laugh, because I was like, that's such a thing. Like, you help somebody, and instead of thank you, they're like, I didn't need you. And then you're like, okay, you're weird. Like,
but
fine.
That's so bad, because they're sabotaging this villain that they were like hyping up, and it's ridiculous. Well, I know that like the TVA, like that was already like the underlying, or the timekeepers there was a sinister thing there. But this was a villainous entity and like a force of nature almost. And then they just made her a joke and just completely sabotaged her as a character. And they did not know how to write for Loki, because he just behaved so un-Loki-like this entire time.
She literally was Space Karen, man. I was like, what? When she had that fit, I was like, what? So then they go in here for 20 minutes. This was so stupid. I was like, oh God, this whole conversation. It's like, okay, so she tries to enchant him. That doesn't work.
Why is he like letting her do this?
I don't know. Why did he even let her come close? It's not like
this place safer than where they just were when they entered the planet.
I know, right? It's like, how do you know that when you go inside a place, it's not going to get like just, bombarded with the random shit that's falling out of the sky? It's like, okay.
But why are you in need of protection anyway?
Yeah, aren't you a god? Don't they have their magic here? I'm so
They
confused.
have their magic here,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, they have their magic. As guardians are not immortal; they just have massively longer lifespans than humans.
Mhm.
But they're
Can still
also
die,
durable, though.
but yes, they are very durable. I mean, again, Loki got thrashed by the Hulk, and he's still able to walk away from
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
Yes.
Um,
Thanos had to choke him for him to.
Yeah, exactly.
So right. So they're not like this whole thing is just so stupid.
So this
Mhm.
part though, like I feel like at first I was like, what is Loki's plan here? Because there's got to be something going on for him to let her get this close. I was almost thinking that he's gonna, I don't know, do something like anything, because it was weird that he would let her get. It's not like they spent the night, like camping outside or something, and then
she's
she's
Loki.
like,
That's weird.
right? It's like, he's
Is it
kissing
weird
himself.
for him though?
They're not
He's
the
kissing
same.
himself. They're not the same. But like it would be weird if they were like spending a lot of time together, like they're outside camping or something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm gonna take this moment here while he's asleep and has his guard down to go and try and enchant him. It's like, no, they're standing there for like 15 seconds, and she's like, let me try and enchant him while he's standing there. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Every decision he makes is just so out of touch with his character and what we've seen of him in this past like Infinity Saga. It's just completely different and unlike his character.
Steve Naughton for $2. I hate this super chat, but I love it at the same time. Says Marvel Star Trek Loki. Ugh.
Yeah. Boy, well, what we're seeing here is, again, this is the Loki right after the first Avengers film, and I don't think the writers are really paying too much attention as to what he was leading up to that film and the adjacent story that he underwent for the remainder of those movies up to the end of Infinity War. Again, they have essentially restarted this character from his first big failure. And I don't think they understand what that really means to him and what his new motivation is going to be.
This is a good point here by Release the McCracken, because I kind of thought the same thing too. I was wondering, like, maybe he's trying to see how her Enchantress power works. But that's a pretty big risk to take, though, because what if it works? Then it's like, okay, I'm just going to let you possess me, like that's a pretty big risk to take.
But I think
Loki
he knew
even
it wasn't going to work.
Yeah. Well, the other part too, Loki already knows that he has to himself to a degree an enchanting power because he's used it through the Infinity Stone in Avengers.
Right.
He took over
Right.
Hawkeye. He took over Stellan Skarsgård, and he tried to take over Tony Stark. We know he's familiar with this technique. If he just all he's missing is an Infinity Stone to help him achieve it.
Right. So then he, says like, my mind is too strong. You can't take it over. They talk more about some bullshit. I don't really remember right now. Do you guys remember what they talked about? Oh, something about, charging the thingy.
The power source.
Yeah. Charging the power source and
Was
how
this
much.
after they met that old lady?
No, this is before. We're getting
sorry.
there.
Okay, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay because this was so stupid. So then they started walking because they're looking for the power source. They do some more walking and talking. Meanwhile, for some reason, the stuff have kind of stopped hitting a little bit for no reason. Then they get to this weird abandoned town where they, see this lady. And then they kind of start talking about their powers a little bit. This was also very
nothing really happened in this sequence.
This was all very dumb because, okay, first of all, this is the part where for me this lady became completely useless because it's like, oh, okay, so you just got taken out by like this lady's gun for no reason. Because who does this? Like, who just kicks in a door like, hello, like, okay, where's your tact? Like, you have to have some sort of tact, right? Like she wasn't expecting a gun or anything. Then her menacingness like just falls away because it's like, oh, you're so useless. You got owned by this old ass lady with some weird gun. And then Loki tries to outdo that by being like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit smarter about it. I'm going to shapeshift into your husband. But then that doesn't work because apparently the husband used to be a bitch or an asshole. And
Or what if he's dead? I mean,
the lady
you
was
just look
like,
at a picture and
the lady was
it's
like,
just so stupid.
you were too kind. He was never that kind to me. Like he used to like be a fucking wife beater or something.
Then why
like,
would you have a picture of him on your table? That's battered wife syndrome. If you're like, he beat me every day, but I still love him and I can change him.
See, Loki is smarter than that. It's just, I don't think there's any point to the sequence, is there?
No.
Just
Other
them
than
kind of
to
showing
learn
off
about
their
a train.
powers. And
This entire sequence of events was so that they could learn about a train.
yeah.
right.
So that's why it was boring for me. Like nothing was accomplished as far as it didn't continue anything of what they set up. Yeah.
So yeah, they talk about that spaceship. They find out like, oh, people are leaving from that spaceship or whatever, or this thing, this place. So they come here and then they're like, well, why don't we use our powers? And then of course they have to make a point of all the POCs standing
Not
in
on the
line,
train, yeah.
trying to board the train, and they're all poor, and they're like, we're all poor and we can't get on the train, and like they're all Hispanic or black.
They look
And
white and black.
I mean, it's just
That part didn't bother me. I mean, it's white and black people.
it's everybody, but mostly poor people. So then
They're the workers.
yeah, the laborers.
I think they said that only the rich were getting on. Is that what they said?
Yeah, the rich, the poor people are getting left behind. So then he's like, let's be smart about this. I'll just shapeshift into one of these dudes and try and pretend that I'm going to get you onto the ship for absolutely no reason.
And he can change his face. That was another thing. He doesn't have to just put the clothes on. He can be one of those guards he passed. He can transform into that. And
yeah,
that
why didn't he do that? That's a great point, Nerd Cookies. Why didn't he just make himself into a completely different person?
Well, then you wouldn't have Tom Hiddleston acting in that scene. That's why.
They just didn't know how to write for Loki. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, though, Script Doctor. You're right. Because then it wouldn't really be Tom Hiddleston in that scene, unless they do kind of like what they did with fucking Wonder Woman 84, where you're like, that it's that person, but it's not really that person.
Like the face swap, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other part too is what we've seen so far is that this Sylvie character is not as menacing or as engaging as the three other actors that played her in the previous episode.
Yep.
E. Clay says, why are there so many wealthy elites on a mining moon? Isn't the moon crashing into the planet?
Either mining planet, mining colony, whatever it is. There's a lot of rich people leaving this area.
Shouldn't the rich have been evacuated first? What? Like that's pretty like.
There's a blue check marks.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, so anyways, the plan doesn't work well. So obviously Lady Loki has to save the day by enchanting that guy and being like, yeah, go on through. And then they go into this train where again Loki starts spilling his guts about all his his growing up with his mom and who taught him magic and so on and so forth, and his life story basically, which we already know. And it's why are we seeing this again? This scene was kind of sweet, but it was also very weird that he would just spill his guts to her. I was so confused. I was like, why are you? I don't understand.
Yeah. He knows nothing about her, but she knows like everything about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just volunteering more information. It's just so silly. This is done to service the audience, not to service the characters, and that is really bad writing.
I love how everyone in the chat is like, it's Majora's Mask all over again. That's hilarious. I forgot that is the thing. That is true. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is about a moon crashing into a planet and everyone's getting destroyed, and then your job is to go back in time and stop it from happening. So
it's more like Melancholia.
Yeah, kind of, but different.
No happy ending.
No happy ending.
Look how awesome this train is. It's got a full bar and restaurant service. Like it's
I
like
do,
not even
I
the
do
end of the
love this
world.
bar. Yeah, I do love this train. So this conversation goes on for a while. The most important part out of this is that Lady Loki taught herself magic, whereas in Tom Hiddleston's character, Loki had to, he learned from his mommy, and we know that. And she talked about basically like in the show, she was like, I wasn't really like, what did she say? She said she was like adopted or something, or
She was very vague.
She was vague.
Almost as if they didn't have a backstory for her.
I'm not sure if anything she said was true. It's hard to really say at this point.
Maybe they created her.
Yeah. She could be lying.
She is a variant, so I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe she isn't. Maybe the TVA.
According to the TVA, she's a variant, but there's many more secrets to the TVA we do not yet know.
Right. Oh, that's actually one of the things that they discussed that we forgot to talk about while they were. Or wait, is that later? I don't know. But at some point, they figure out that the variants are not created, because she tells them that they're the people who are working for the time people are variants. And basically Owen Wilson used to be a variant. That's why he likes, or used to be a real person. That's why he likes the speedboat thing.
I kind of assumed that already. That wasn't like a huge thing for me because, well, I didn't assume they were just creating these people. It made more sense that if they were variants, they were still just existing out of time anyways. So they could be used. Why not? I don't know. That wasn't a huge bombshell for me, but yeah.
Release the Kraken says she could be lying too. That's true. I mean, she's supposed to be, well, she's not Loki, actually. Never mind. Nick Cookie says, I can't wait to watch the Sylvie prequel series and find out how she broke that horn. I know. I was wondering about that too, but then she ends up losing the horn this episode. And I was like, so we're not going to find out why she broke the horn?
Oh, she probably went to pick something up and then hit her head on a table.
Oh, God. So then he ends up doing a song and dance for a bit.
Yeah, she goes to sleep and wakes up to him being a fool.
A terrible song, a song that's off key and terrible lyrics.
He did a better job in this. You guys
I've never seen him sing before. It's like he's pretending to be Thor in this scene.
A little. He's got some habits from him. Yeah.
Yeah, he did another and threw down the glass. Like the whole thing though was just, it screamed like he's pretending to be Thor at the movie Thor, like at that time of his character's journey. Mm-hmm. And it's just nothing like, why is he putting them in danger? He's bringing attention to themselves, and they're basically on the thread of death. They're like inches from death. They need to get the power source to survive. He would not be doing this normally.
That's what she said to him too. It's like as if he wanted to do it on purpose. He didn't care. I don't know why, but she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't you know, like, we're trying to kind of like stay alive here, and we have a mission, and blah blah blah. And she, he gets them kicked off the train, and she had to jump after him because of the MacGuffin thingy or the iPad.
Yeah, he broke it.
Yeah, and he broke it because he's an idiot, and he's totally drunk too. So he fucked up on this again. He's a total useless idiot, basically. And there's the Karen moment. She literally had a Karen moment. She was like, ah! And she like used her power. She like, threw some bombs around, and she was like, oh my God, I'm such a Karen. And then he had to like calm her down. And then this is another scene where they're just like talking for a bit. Like, what are we gonna do now?
Why are they sitting so close together?
We're gonna die. Are you Jayne? Are you shipping them? Do you want them together?
Not at all. That's why I'm like, why
are they so better close? Without the crown.
They're trying to force the audience into thinking, oh, they have chemistry, but they don't. There's nothing. Owen Wilson and him had chemistry. I mean, not like anything romantic, but they had like
Damn, nerd cookies. No, I'm just-
their conversations flowed nice.
yeah, I like the bromance that was forming between them.
There's nothing in here that's so forced and so unnatural to Loki, but also like this character just made a complete change.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just so unlikable to me.
So far, yeah, definitely. She so then they figured out, oh, like, well, Loki was like, well, this planet didn't have us before, so that's why, like, we're gonna get on that ship because we're the best.
I don't even like, I'm still, this whole thing is contrived.
That's self-est. That's weird.
Self-cessed.
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 Oh my god.
I don't like I don't like the idea too that they're trying to get us to sympathize with her character, and I don't want to. I saw what she did in the first 2 episodes, and I want this villain to be a villain. I don't want it to be, oh, she's just misunderstood. They need to stop doing that.
That's what I want too. That's why I said the commercial I played was more likable than this, because it's like at least he's a villain in that, and he's like, I'm a villain and fuck you guys and blah blah blah. And this, it's like, oh, he's so misunderstood all the time.
Well, there's that, but they give us nothing with this Sylvie character to even understand what she's doing. Like this entire episode with her here, we learn nothing really of substance about her.
Well, all we know is that she's still after the timekeepers, but we already knew that. It's like, well, why are you after the timekeepers? What's your deal?
Because they're fascists.
She doesn't. Yeah. Well, she doesn't like.
Oh no! Yeah. I mean, like they're ultimate power. What are you supposed to do? They merged multi-universes into one. Yeah, that's a little fascistic. Yeah, absolutely.
It is. It's true.
But I'm happy for the insurmountable cause that she has before her, but we can't support it without a proper motivation, which is how was she wronged? I mean, because the principle of fascism is easy enough just to say, okay, yeah, they're fascists, what have you, but how were they wronged? How did those fascists wrong her to cause her to raise this escalation against them?
Well, they're saying, well, she's saying because she's like, well, they call her a variant now, but I'm guessing it's because of the variant situation. Because
of name calling.
Well, I could see her or people generally being upset that the life that they would lead was chosen for them. So maybe she feels like she would have had a better life. But they chose to give her this one or something like that. I don't know.
What if her boyfriend or girlfriend, in this case, probably because she's a lesbian, or bisexual or whatever. What if her whatever partner is a variant and she's trying to like set the variant free from, or like make them remember that they had a life together or something? I don't know, or a friend. I don't know.
Well, this is what I felt about the TVA so far. Again, we didn't really know very much about how this works. And as far as like predestination or free will, that was interesting to debate about. At this time, I felt like, well, there's so little that, we don't know. But I feel like everything that's happened, those were the decisions in the Infinity Saga. Those are the decisions that they were supposed to make. And it really just depends on your perspective. So from someone's perspective from the future knows how events in the past went. They know how, what decisions were made. They know how the history flowed. And if they were in the position to monitor that and detect changes to the timeline, well, would it be going against free will if they corrected it? But the thing is, that's what they were going to make decisions they were supposed to make anyways. So I think it entirely depends on your perspective. But if something happened and you wind up outside of time, which is what Loki is right now, he doesn't even exist. He's outside of time. So from his perspective, he has no life. There's nowhere for him to go.
Because he's dead.
Yes, he can't go back. He can't change things He can't, because that would change everything. That would change the future. So, like, from his perspective and perspective of other variants, I can see that, yes, they don't have any choice in what they do. So I think it's entirely dependent on your perspective. And yeah, that's how I viewed it so far. But again, there's a lot I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty interesting thing. So it makes me postulate this. What if this Sylvie female Loki character was a variant who worked for the TVA and then reawoke and decided to leave and turn against them?
Wait, say that again. My brain hurts like
no worries. Okay, so Sylvie, the female Loki, was a variant, and just like this other Loki, she was originally recruited into the TVA, and like the rest of the TVA, she lost her sense of identity and her memories and became just a drone. But something happened that reawakened her, and now she has left and is now trying to take it apart, and that is going to be maybe her twist, and that's why she hates Loki. That's why she wants to destroy the TVA, because they took away her life for who knows how many years.
But then double twist, the timekeepers end up being Loki anyway.
There's that too.
I think y'all are writing a better story than what we're gonna get.
I know, right? I mean, they should be watching the stream. We're giving them good ideas.
I mean, we don't know if there's any downsides to having multiple timelines. They just say that it would basically destroy everything, but we don't know that these characters don't know that. So maybe that's what they're leading to, that eventually there will be these creation of multiverses, that they're not, because they've been destroying like variant timelines or alternate timelines like willy-nilly if it's not the sacred timeline. But will that in fact happen? Will everything be destroyed if those multiverses are allowed to exist? I mean, we don't know about their intentions yet. So,
and everyone in the chat seems to agree on one thing, that we're coming up with better stories than what the fuck is going on in that Marvel room. That's very disappointing. So again, some more walking and talking, and more walking and talking, and more walking and talking. I like the city though. It was cool. I was like, okay, futuristic city. It kind of reminded me of that other city though, the one in I swear they use the same set.
Blade Runner?
Guardians?
No, in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when they went to like that weird city. What was it called?
Oh, Madripoor.
Yeah, that city. It was like the
Could
same
be the
thing.
same set.
I think it's the same set. I think this is the Madripoor set. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna go and find this fucking ship, which they do. And then they're like, we're gonna get on this ship, which they don't.
Okay, so one thing I thought was interesting, and this is when I thought it was going to be revealed that this is all an illusion, was when the building was going to fall on them and someone prevented it. I don't know if that was Sylvie or
It was Loki.
But can he do that? I haven't seen him do that kind of power before, demonstrate that before. Unless it's an illusion.
I don't know why he wouldn't be able to, though. Why wouldn't he?
Well, have we seen him do that, though? I mean, he's caught arrows. Mostly his power lies in illusions, though.
Didn't we see him do that with
I don't recall telekinesis.
You don't recall telekinesis? Why do I recall telekinesis? Maybe the chat can help us, because I remember when he, but that was the stone, because he was like, he held the stone a couple times when it was floating, but maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm imagining things.
Maybe it was in the Dark World, because I keep falling asleep during that film.
Oh my god.
I don't recall that. Again, it's like he's the master of illusion, and he's intelligent. He doesn't just act on impulse, which is just this entire episode. He takes a course of action that he knows that at least he'll wind up on top of, that he'll
not unless this is Loki. Yeah.
So Rory says that they showed telekinesis in the Dark World. He broke a chair, I think. I don't.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Wow.
I was just speculating, what if this is Loki's illusion onto her?
Yeah, again, it's like I thought they were foreshadowing it with that beginning and the conversation about how her power works, but nothing was revealed. It was just like, okay, we're all
Maybe
gonna die.
that's true, though. Maybe that's what they're gonna drop in the next episode. Because if you guys are saying that Loki doesn't have telekinesis, which I don't remember, that's one of the things I made a note about too. Like, how the fuck is he doing telekinesis? I didn't think he had that power. And now that he is, maybe this whole moon thing was an illusion. Maybe he did something.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, the
know.
only breach is that how does he know about this future event and its apocalypse? Aside from the fact that he's researched all those apocalypses,
Well,
of
he
where
did, like, he spent
be,
a
yeah.
fucking day in that library researching bullshit, so he probably knows a lot of stuff now. Remember?
No, he might have the source
So-
of information to recreate this
Yeah.
and fool her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like this episode's wasted then. Even if that is true, this episode by itself is so weak. Like, I feel like they could have condensed it down so much and did the big reveal later, like at the end, like have that be this climactic thing. And then like you'll be like really intrigued going into the next episode instead of just this was such a boring thing and they didn't really pay off in any way what happened. And yeah, so I'm left with feeling any emotional investment and attachment and intrigue and mystery that I felt was completely dead after this episode.
Wow. Argo saying Loki used telekinesis the second episode to grab a wheel when fighting Sylvia. I don't remember that.
There's a
Guys remember
wheel?
that? I don't remember that at all. Man. Cuck
I don't remember
McNeilberg the first says in the comics he uses spells of telekinesis. That's a really funny name.
I mean, it's a huge demonstration of power, though. If it's a huge building, more than what we've seen demonstrated. So I guess I don't know.
Darren wants to know if Lady Loki set up all the time bombs. Why wouldn't Lady Loki know how to avoid entropy for herself? Did they forget about episode 2? I think that the little thingy was pre-programmed with these locations so that she can get away to wherever so that she can do her mischief without being detected. And that's what I'm guessing. Is that not true? And then that they just happened to end up here because he used the same thing that she was using to get away. But I don't know.
And I guess she forgot to recharge it before she left and fought Loki.
Right. This whole episode does at the end of it, like you said, Nerd Cookies doesn't really make any sense because when they don't make it to the ship, so the time stays the same. She's frustrated, so she just walks away, and he's just standing there going like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do now? Because we're all gonna die here. But then again, and now that's the other thing, because you would think to yourself, okay, well, someone's gonna come rescue them because like either Owen Wilson's gonna come rescue them or the other lady is gonna come rescue them or whatever. Well, not rescue them, trying to arrest them or whatever. But then again, how would they know where they are? Because they can't find them through these locations now because they're in the end of the world kind of scenario, right?
They have to search the hard way, go to every single one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just very disappointing. Like midway through the series, there's only 3 episodes left,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Thank
such
God.
it's just. It's sad
Argo
and
says
disappointing.
this episode was a waste of time. It was a race against time where nothing is accomplished. And I agree with you. The only thing that we basically got out of this was the definitive proof that the variants are being used to be the new like time place. And so that now actually Loki basically has a mission to wake up the variants because now I believe that that's what he wants to do other than meeting the Time Lords or whatever. I think he wants to wake up the variants like Owen Wilson's character, force them to remember that they used to be variants themselves, because once you realize that you're a variant, you probably don't want to hunt down other variants. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out of wanting to help them. Just if it overthrew the timekeepers, then sure.
Zen said, "I didn't even know Owen was in this until the stream." Well, he's prominently in the first and second episode.
He was awesome. He was like
He
probably the
is
best
great.
part.
He is great.
He has
He's
some
still-
moments that are cringe for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's
Really?
still Owen Wilson in this, though.
He is Owen Wilson. He's 100% Owen Wilson. He does not change his act. That's who he is.
I think it suited the environment and this really strange, otherworldly place, this universe, whatever you want to call it. I liked the quirkiness of it, but the mysterious quirkiness, with a hint of danger and mystery and intrigue, and they really were trying to build this huge universe with these huge concepts. And they took all that and they basically just threw it away in this. That your villain was completely sabotaged. Loki was just being stupid. The completely different writer. You can just completely tell. Anyways, I'm done.
Got drunk, broke the MacGuffin thingy, the iPad. I mean, why is he so useless? I have a hard time believing he's this useless. I feel like he's setting, this is a setup for something. This is a setup but then again, look how devastated he looks here. It's almost as if it's not. Is he really this devastated, or is this an act? I don't get it.
We'll find out Tuesday.
Do we know who's the writer for the next episode? Is that listed?
Script Doctor. That's your wheelhouse. Stephen Otten for $5. Thank you so much. Says, I haven't seen the show, so I'm just taking a guess. Am I right in thinking all of this could have been handled in the first episode? Yeah, pretty much. I think the first two could have been definitely kind of. I mean, the first one, God, that one dragged on.
It was a lot of filler in the first episode. I feel.
Yeah, I was just oh my God.
The first two could have been.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. I thought it was just so new and different. I didn't mind them taking the time to set it up and to set up the world.
But they only have.
But
6
again,
episodes.
they didn't pay it off. That's you're building this universe. We're learning about Loki and this new version of Loki. I didn't mind them taking the time to do that and set it up, but again, you have to pay that off to the audience, and they didn't do that. They Ryan Johnson did. Is that the term?
Oh my God! There's Darkside saying, "I hope it's Ryan Johnson."
No, it's the showrunner. It's Michael Waldron who did the first 2 episodes.
Oh no!
Oh no! It's gonna go back to walking and talking for fucking 2 hours. Okay,
it's gonna go back to Loki having to go through a metal detector and have that have absolutely nothing to do with his trial because he's going to be disintegrated anyways, or having to sign and prove.
Oh, he's gonna cry.
Everything he ever said, because again, that's not even going to factor into his own. That whole first half of the episode was superfluous.
He's also going to cry because in the first 2 episodes, he definitely cried several times.
Yeah.
So, that happened. But thank you so much, Stephen Otten, for your super chat. Here is a thank you.
I was thinking that I'd really like to hear what Owen Wilson would be like if he was Loki.
Oh, you got it.
I couldn't help it.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Owen Wilson as Loki. Hang on. I can, and I will. Is not this simpler? Is this not your natural state? It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. So.
Thank you so much. And Eclay sent us a 99-cent sticker of a dude that's just his eyes are fucked up, and he's either really stoned or his mind is spinning from all the bullshit that's just gone down in this episode. So thank you so much, Eclay, for that. It was a pretty good impression. It was a very good impression. I think Tom Hiddleston's a really good actor, actually. So yeah, unfortunately we didn't get an end credit series. I was really hoping that we'd get an end credit scene because, you know, like anything to see Owen Wilson maybe, or like what's going to be the next setup for the next episode. But no, we didn't get shit.
I think they hide clues in those clips, but I don't have the energy or the interest.
Yeah, it was
Going through
interesting
it.
in the last episode. When all the stuff happened, those reset devices were going into these different, all the multi timelines or whatever was starting. So in the credits, they had like this list. I think it was in the credits. They had this list of like places, like events and stuff where stuff was deviating, and there were a few planets that, you know, were of note. Obviously, Earth, several different places, but Xandar and Asgard were a few of them.
Well, there is one that I just paused on, and it says fresh 800 BC. So would that sound like it's going
Fresh?
to be? Yeah, hold on. Let me share my screen again here. Does that mean that it's going to be the Owen Wilson thing that he's supposed to find a soft what, like in Egypt or what? What was he?
Huh?
Hold on.
Oh, was Egypt one of the places?
That's what somebody said in the chat, that there was a
Well, I know.
there was a leaked footage or something.
But on the list of
Fresh 800 BC.
Oh, that's for coffee.
Oh, the coffee was fresh in 800 BC. Is that what that is?
I think so, yeah.
I
Or
don't
fresh,
know.
and that's when it was made, like in the Tim Hortons. And they put the-
Oh my god. Okay,
Old
well,
coffee.
I'm just like trying to go
I don't
through
know.
it just a little bit just to see if there's anything that we can figure it out. This person is typing on this typewriter. And then we get this scene where there's basically nothing really going on. Somebody's drinking some wine though, I think. What is that? Is that wine? I don't know what that is.
It's a very
I think
weird
it's
glass.
a beaker. Is it a beaker
Yeah.
or something?
Some more typing, and then more of this, and then some writing down. You got 600 to, and then there's a 700 or 006, 007.
So that's time, and so that's 0600 hour or something at 0700 hour or something.
Yeah. And then somebody's checking off the list, I guess, of maybe the places they could be. And then there's this weird thingamajig.
Toggles.
Yeah, and then there's more of these thingamajigs.
Switches.
Obviously that's the window they go through, the rotary phone, the chocolate, this whatever the hell this is, some sort of compass.
That looks like a camera, actually.
Oh,
It's an
okay.
old camera.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's an old camera. More of these weird circle thingies. And that's pretty much it, I think. There's a clock.
Metronome.
Metronome. Oh, that is metronome.
Tidy
Some
cubicle.
apocalyptic event report.
Tidy cubicle. This is all very, the elevator, the lockers, the more of that beaker. Oh, wait. Let's see here.
More stones that are useless.
Wait a minute. They have their picture together, and they have a picture of her trying to enchant him. So they already know? How could they know this?
It's all meant to happen from the Time Authority.
But they wouldn't know because they're hiding in that place that is supposed to happen already, right? Like, how would they know that? How would they know this scene or where they are? That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe the judge. No, was it the judge? Maybe she gets like this paperwork in real time as it's happening, and well, I have no idea.
What do you want to bet that the judge and Owen Wilson's character, before they became variants, were a couple?
Oh,
Wait, what
that's
now?
probably the case. Yeah.
What if she
Owen
is the
Wilson and
timekeeper?
judge?
Yeah. I can see
They're
it because
so- I cannot.
he's so into her.
But she's so much younger looking than him.
No,
But they were
I
pulled
don't
out
think
at
they're
different
a
points in their
thing.
life.
No, I don't know.
I wouldn't like it at all.
I think she's a timekeeper in disguise. Maybe
Could be.
she seems like she seems sinister.
She
But why
kind
would
of does.
Like she knows more than I don't know than she's letting on.
Well, she's the one that can like she's the one that has access to the timekeepers. Owen Wilson doesn't even have access. Yeah, supposedly. But I don't think the timekeepers exist. I think they're a crock of shit. That Loki's made up personally. I'm still betting that this whole thing is Loki somehow, like a future variant of Loki or whatever, like another version of him.
What if they go
and
the prisoner and like, who are the timekeepers? It's really just like a giant missile with an eye in it.
Oh God.
If you've ever seen the TV show The Prisoner, that's a highly
I've never
recommend.
seen that. No.
Yeah, it's an old show, but you should check it out.
Okay. It's probably better than this. Then we have some more of this crap, and then the Loki.
What was that ring? Was the ring something? Was that anything?
That was a cigar thingy, wasn't it? Isn't this one of those cigar clips?
Oh, that looks like an Asgardian thing.
Does it?
I could have sworn that was something of significance, but now I can't remember why.
Well, I know this is their rod.
It's got a wake in green over there.
Wake.
This is their punishing rod. This is their little iPad. Wake. It should write woke. So that's what their show is.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
And then the judge, aka Loki, or whatever the fuck.
What's it supposed to look like? Huh?
Supposedly. So okay. Final thoughts. Nerd cookies. What the fuck, Jayne?
I'm just so sad. I'm sad that it had potential. It really did. And again, all these series had potential, and they just dropped the ball on it. I think I enjoyed the world building of the first 2 episodes. I think there were some strong performances, and I liked the otherworldly, bureaucratic feel to it. I just thought it was kind of different and kind of like a different science fiction series. That's what I thought the vibe was going towards. But yeah, so it just lost me when Loki started to behave not like Loki. Like this was still, he is still coming off of fresh of killing Coulson and trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
So yes, he did see like how his life, like clips of his life, really just got the cliff notes. But he very much is that person that you don't change overnight. His whole, like over the entire 20 film Infinity Saga got us to the point of where we saw him in Infinity War. So you can't get to that point overnight with just this series. So I feel like they're just out of touch, and the writers aren't in sync with each other, and that concerns me. Yeah, I'm just sad because I was emotionally invested, and now I'm not anymore. I really couldn't care less if I just stopped watching right now. So
well, I hope you do keep watching and then coming back next Sunday so that we can talk about it. But that's just me being selfish. Of course, I understand that if you don't have time to waste on this, you can just skip out and then watch us talk about it.
Well, it's sad that I just don't care anymore. And that's the thing. You're supposed to care. Like
You're right.
Yeah. And and I think a lot of audiences might just feel that disconnect and, just treat the character normally, just keep the writing consistent and you'll be successful. I don't know.
Oh my God. Argo, I don't know what to say about this. I don't know. That would be too smart, I think. Jayne.
Yes.
Final thoughts on this episode.
Oh, it was a whole mess to me. I don't understand why we're not seeing them better exercise their powers, first of all, once they got them. So, especially since they made such a big deal of them not being able to use their powers in the TVA world. So I was expecting once they get out, now the show's going to pick up. It's going to get interesting. We're going to see some stuff. It's going to be fun. And it was just boring and nonsensical. And
well, apparently Loki can use telekinesis now. Doesn't that excite you?
Well, it would if we saw more than just that one thing. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like it.
I would have preferred, instead of him getting drunk as fuck and just being an idiot, that they somehow got into more mischief and, used more magic and stuff like that.
Right.
That whole scene with the train was dumb. That whole scene with the lady where they were like, okay, let's do our magic, but like I'm just gonna do the stupid magic of shapeshifting, which we've already seen 1,000 times. And didn't work. It just seemed so unnecessary. Like I was like, okay, well, do something
just
else.
Choke her and go do what you need to do.
Or that. Or be a villain, because that's what they are.
Stab her in the back.
Yeah.
That's literally what he does.
I mean, he keeps like brandishing those daggers. How about you fucking put them to use?
Where did he get the daggers too? That was a question I had. Because he just had them.
They're
He
just
hides
made up.
them.
He's just like,
he didn't
whoa.
have them when.
No, he hides them in the same spot he hid the iPad, and he just couldn't access it when he was at the TVA.
The time cop had his daggers though. She put them somewhere, and I don't remember him.
I think he got it back when Owen Wilson freed him, or whatever, recruited him to do the mission.
Tangent. I didn't mean to.
Right.
Oh no, it's fine. I personally thought that they were just random daggers that he can, whip out of nowhere because he's a magician and Loki. I didn't know they actually existed.
Question. Someone may have an answer.
What's up?
When he is in the TVA space or whatever, how is he appearing like Loki? Wasn't that always an illusion?
Oh, shouldn't he be like a baby frost giant with blue skin?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I did wonder that. And you know what? I was thinking because it's kind of like involuntary, his appearance. Only when he held the weapon of the frost giants in Thor is when his appearance like gave way to his frost giant like blue appearance. And then it just once he it faded once he let go of it. So I don't know how that in particular works. If it's something that Odin did to him specifically, and it's just part of him now. And that So I thought that was interesting too. That why can't he just? Does he have to actively try to be Loki like that appearance, but I think it's just involuntary.
I agree with grumpy old ninja Jayne. I think they just forgot about it. They were like, whatever.
That's probably more likely.
I mean, I forgot about it. Oh my god! Wait, wasn't that in the Dark World thing, or was that the other movie?
Which part?
First one.
The first giant, the frost giants.
Oh, that's the first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've forgotten everything. That's not good. Oh my god. What? Oh my god. Hey, Teresa's here. What's going on, Teresa? Here's a clip for you, Teresa. I especially made this for you and Jayne.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I don't doubt it. You're an excellent specimen. I thought you were empty.
I just moved in.
I'm Charlotte Melville.
Hi. Sorry, I must have fallen asleep.
God, I hope we haven't frightened him off.
So what if we have?
I hope you enjoyed that, Teresa.
What did I just watch?
That was from the movie called High Rise.
What are you doing? Just sunbathing in an apartment complex where someone can just look over?
Because he just didn't give he didn't give 2 Fs.
What if they had kids? Just
Well, no nerd cookies. That's not.
And what if that bottle was like dropped to like what, like a few inches to the right?
That would have been very problematic for his balls.
It wouldn't have broken, but it would have hurt like heck.
Yeah.
Rob, what's going on? Says they are actively seeking out writers who are not fans or even knowledgeable in the material. Is this really that surprising when the showrunner on WandaVision didn't know what the Easter eggs meant? Yeah, that's true.
Remember, Kevin Feige's not hiring people that are going to countermand his own ideas. He's hiring people that are going to say, yes, sir.
And that's never a good idea in any workplace environment.
Nope.
I would not want people working for me who are just high-fiving everything I say. That's crazy.
You don't want a bunch of yes men around you, because in that way everything you do is going to suck. I think that it's too bad, because I do think Loki had a lot of potential. Now, a lot of people, and I've seen it in the chat too, I can't really highlight it right now. A lot of people think that Kang person is going to possibly make an appearance. Do you guys think that could even be a thing?
What if Owen Wilson is Kang?
I don't know.
He's a big enough actor to take the role.
I think just like with WandaVision, people are coming up with better stories.
I agree with you, Jane.
I don't like the Mephisto thing and nothing will come of it.
I think that's exactly what's happening. I don't think that this Kang person's going to show up. I'm still saying that Loki is going to be the main villain in his own thing, the Time Lords or whatever the hell they're called. Okay, so before we end it, theories for next episode, Script Doctor, or final thoughts first, because I don't think I asked you about your final thoughts, did I?
I can't remember.
Why don't you just tell me your final thoughts and your theories for next episode?
Final thought is this episode didn't need to be made this way. It's such a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Next episode, well, they're going to be either rescued or find a way out, and that's going to get them back face to face with the TVA. And that's about as far as I can imagine where they're going to go, because this is a very nonsensical story. It doesn't seem to be following any narrative pattern that I recognize.
Who do you think is going to rescue them next episode?
We want to say the judge is going to do it. Yeah, let's say the judge.
You're going to say POC judge or Owen
Sure.
Wilson? Okay, POC judge. Okay, so we got one for POC judge. Anything else, Script Doctor?
No, it's just that's such a poor show. So
okay, Jane, what do you think for next episode?
Yeah, actually, I think it'll be Owen, most likely, because he went with Loki to the I don't know, the end of the time loop for the last episode where they were trying to hunt her down. So he's been there before. He understands how to find them in that space. So I anticipate it'll be him showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that too will work well with the relationship that they have, where Loki pretty much abandoned him and now he needs him.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll work, I think. Other than that, though, I think if we get a backstory for quote unquote Lady Loki, it'll have to be somehow in next episode as well. So how they're going to fit all that in, I don't know, but I expect to see at least those two things.
Does anyone have access to this leaked footage from episode 4 that maybe we can take a look at?
No, this is the first I've heard of it today in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can find it.
It could be like quick clips of him jumping to different apocalypses.
Okay, so are they talking about the promo trailer for episode 4? Because I think there's that. But it seems like the episode 4 promo trailer. Oh, yes. And guess what? You know what? This is making sense. I'm going to share this. And you guys remember how there was a scene with Loki sitting with a girl and everybody thought it was Black Widow because they were like in somewhere and it looked kind of like colorful and whatever, and everyone thought it was going to be Black Widow. It's not. It's going to be her. It's Lady Loki, and they're like just, you know, sitting around waiting to die. That's basically what's going on. So here we have the promo trailer. I wonder if I'm gonna get hit on this.
Totally gonna get hit. Yeah.
Okay, so can I just? Do you guys mind if we go through it like this?
Yeah.
I don't think.
You can use the left and right arrow on your keyboard to.
Oh, okay.
Moves about 5 seconds at a time. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? We'll just play. I don't care. Okay, see this part we already know. We've seen this bitch. We've seen this. Where's the next scene?
Past, present.
Oh, we've seen
future.
this. Did I share audio?
Yeah, we can hear it.
There's no such thing.
Okay, so we've seen these are from the movie. This is not even. Okay, so this scene, this is it. So everybody thought that she was Black Widow.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
It's not. It's Lady Loki, and they're sitting in this world that's been destroyed, and this is clearly after she walked away. The scene we've already seen. Oh, look at that! He's in somewhere weird.
Come on. What did you expect?
There's his knives. I don't get why it says Loki promo for 4 and then it's got like previous episode.
You better be ready.
Oh, okay, so again, that scene that everybody thought was. Oh, fuck, I didn't pause it. Right. Ah. How am I not getting that? Oh, well. Fuck.
Right there.
Yeah. It's definitely Lady Loki, and they're watching these fucking things hit the thingy. Yeah. And I guess she's gonna kick more ass. I don't know where this is with these veiny.
Looks like a library somewhere.
Is that the Doctor Strange library?
That was where, because he was walking through that scene where it was this weird. Did you guys see that? With this weird place, and he was walking through it. It's the same place. I don't know where it was. Oh well. But yeah, so that's lame.
I think it's just a trailer with just more footage from this last episode.
Yeah, those things kind of piss me off too, because in the WandaVision one, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have Doctor Strange," and they even showed Doctor Strange in their promo footage, and then they were like, "Never mind, he's not in it."
Can't trust it.
Word 789 says this is a clickbait title. We broke down the episode and reviewed it, so it isn't. But okay. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We reviewed and broke down episode 3 of Loki. Script Doctor, tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. I do have a YouTube channel where I review and analyze film and TV shows, which is currently on hiatus at the moment as I am writing on my own feature scripts right now that have been assigned to me. So follow me on Twitter to find out when I start making content again, or where I pop up on live streams when I need a break from writing in Final Draft.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean because I didn't see the first message that you sent. You're right. That was a clickbait. I'm thoroughly disappointed with that promo trailer. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yay, 90 likes, you guys. Yay. Okay, so Script Doctor's links are in the description as well as Jayne's. I'm sorry, Nerd Cookies, I didn't know you were joining, so I didn't add yours. I can add yours later. But Nick Cookies has been dropping links for Nerd Cookies in the chat. So there you go. There's her Twitch. Be sure you guys are subscribed. Nerd Cookies, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, Nerd Cookies on YouTube is my sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Just dropped a new video today covering the design, the history of the ornithopters found in Dune. So be sure to check that out. And Nerd Cookie Arcade is my gaming channel, so you can find me on Twitch and YouTube on that, and also like highlights from the streams we posted on that, and Pop Cookies as well for pop culture stuff.
I thought you said pot cookies, and I was like, holy shit, Nerd Cookies. What kind of channel is that? I'm in.
That's not the first time that's been mistaken.
Oh my God. I was like, I'm so in on this channel. I don't know what's going on, but I'm subbing.
I thought about going pop culture cookies, but Nick thought pop cookies was better. So
I think it is better, especially because
missing is a cooking channel.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh man.
It's true.
A baking channel, really.
A baking channel. Definitely.
Like baked cookies would probably be a good pop culture thing.
Pot cookies would definitely make the stream fun. It would
make
also
the show enjoyable.
It would make the show very enjoyable. I will tell you that right now. Cooking cookies. Oh my goodness. Jayne, my dear Jayne.
Yes.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me here on YouTube, where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. I actually just dropped a review for Fast and the Furious 9.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Was
check
it
that
good?
out. No. You can also follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jayne Theory.
Awesome. Jayne's link is in the description for her YouTube channel, her Twitter. Everything else you must find on your own, because I don't I'm terrible. Elvis says, I'm so glad that Loki is bi. That's so important. It is because #Pride Month.
More important than the plot, apparently.
Oh my God. By the way, Nerd Cookies and Nick Cookies were on Culture Casino's stream earlier, and I was in the chat. That stream was awesome. It is mostly about Dune, though. So if you're interested in Dune like I am, please go check that out. That was a great stream. A lot of good information on there. It was a lot of fun. And with that being said, any final thoughts, anybody? Or should we just end it? Should we call it?
Well, chatting with you guys about it is the most fun.
Oh,
about this episode.
Definitely, you and Nick Cookies are both invited to the next stream. If you're interested, definitely join us. We do it every Sunday, everybody, at 9 EST. So we will be back next week as well. And with that said, let's end it on another commercial. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war.
They say Brits play the best villains. But what makes a great villain? Firstly, you need to sound distinct. Speak with an eloquence that lets everyone know who's in charge. Gentlemen. Excellent. Now, a villain should have style. A suit should always be bespoke, razor sharp, like your wit. It's important that a villain has the means to stay one step ahead. World domination starts with attention to detail. Take this tiny switch, for example. It changes everything. Now brace yourselves. This happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the Silver Sea, against the envy of less happier lands. This blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England. It's all mine.